at the very, very back of the engine. If you can see right in the middle there's a little hole, and that's a cable, that's an earth cable that should be bolted through there, and it leads to the alternator, and that's not there at all. Actually, the little lead is underneath it. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's in there, but that's one of the jobs I need to do. And then I need to bolt up the alternator again. There's 2 bolts holding the alternator in place. There's one there, that guy, oops, him. The other one completely missing, so that needs to be buttoned up. And then once I get that done, I've got the power steering to do. That's relatively easy. And then all the other hoses and pipes are filled up. So then my plan is to put coolant in it and a flushing agent and run the engine for a little while and see how it does. Very exciting. But it runs, it's alive, and it sounds healthy, and I haven't broken it yet. I put in a bit of a late one last night because I had it in my head I wanted to finish the coolant system before I went to bed. There was a lot of troubleshooting to get it right, but fortunately I had my pressure tester, and that was able to pressurize the system, and I could see the leaks without having to wait for the engine to heat up and cool down, heat up and cool down. So that sped things up, but it still took a couple of hours to get it all sorted. Then I ran the engine flush through it, so now today I'm going to drain that. That'll be my first job. And then as that's happening, I'm going to put the engine mount in, the timing belt cover, and then I'm going to get it off the jack that's been holding the engine up, and then run it with the coolant in it, at the proper angle. Maybe put it back down on its wheels, and just let it run properly for a little while. See how that's doing. Then I'm going to clean up the oil cooler and put the structure back in that holds the bumper in place, and then I've got to dash off and work on the bumper, because that is going to take time to bond. So there's the crack. It's sitting together pretty neatly. I think if I can glue it together like that and then touch it up, it'll be reasonably invisible. At some stage I'm going to have to get the bumper and parts of the car repainted anyways, because they're so rough. The other job I need to do, but I probably won't get around to doing it today, is make a gasket for this side. There's only one gasket for the indicators. That's what it looks like. They're about 70 or 80 quid a pair or something, if you can get them. The problem is you can't get them new. So I'm going to use this rubber gasket material basically to fabricate one. It's better than what was there, which was nothing basically. And the other thing I need to do then is repair this little indicator pod. This one's fine, this one's cracked, getting some bodgy plastic welding gone on there. That's my plan for today. I've got about 3 hours to do it, but it has to be done because on Monday it's due to go for its MOT, and all this needs to be finished and back in place, otherwise it may not pass. I don't know if it'll pass anyways, but it'll just be good to take it out for a drive. And of course I'll bring my camera with me. I couldn't go through all this and not have you there with me for that very, very first drive ever of a Lotus Elan. Maybe it's because I'm tired, but everything has been fighting me today and progress has been slow. I've just gotten around to getting this engine mount in here, which sits in there normally. It suddenly occurred to me that perhaps the timing belt cover goes in advance, and sure enough it does. So this has to come back out again, and the access to the bolts, as you can see down there, is terrible. So I'd just gotten it in, was celebrating, and then I realized that I'd done it in the wrong order, so out it has to come again. Yep, that's what happens. It's probably for the best I've only got a few hours with the car today. Okay, super quick update. Joe and Chris, sorry I'm late, we're on our way. Just to let everyone know what I've been up to today. So, engine mount is in, timing belt cover is in, oil cooler and the oil cooler shrouds all in, nice and solid. That was all flapping around the place. And that's pretty much what I've done the last couple of hours. I didn't get around to touching the bumper. There was just, this was too slow, it took too much to do. And then I made a misstep, which kind of screwed everything up. So I had to undo what I was doing and redo it again. But I'm running a coolant test now while I jump in the shower. I'll just let it run. Hopefully everything will be fine. I don't see any issues with it. I did this last night, there was no problem, but it's in a better place than it was earlier. It's all, I mean, I could actually put the wheels on it right now and drive it technically. So really all I've got left to do now is finish the bumper, whack it on, make sure all the lights work, and fingers crossed for Monday it'll pass its MOT. Fingers crossed. Bit of a late start today due to having a slight hangover, but the good news is I'm feeling better, and once I got stuck in, progress was made. Now, the bumper was one of the first things to come off when I was doing the mechanical side of things, so it's also going to be the last thing that goes back on, really. So this is the last set of jobs I have to do before it goes for its MOT tomorrow, and today's work involved replacing this bolt on the bracket. The reason it looks like that is these are pressed through so that you can thread them. Obviously I don't have that sort of a bolt, so there's a metal clip behind that holding that in place, and then the tape is holding the clip in place. When I put this on the car, I've got to thread that through by hand, and I won't have access to the back, so that's what that is, but I'm happy with the way that looks. All of these had to be replaced. There's 4 of these had all rusted out, and they're again for holding the bumper to the intercooler and oil cooler boxes. And then the next job obviously was the big crack that was on it, so it's a bit sloppy in there with the epoxy resin holding the crack together. And then you'll see these little brackets that I made and riveted through. I was going to use the heavy gauge stuff, but it was just too much work. It just wasn't malleable enough. It was a bit over the top. So these little brackets, probably speaker brackets, I found in my box of knickknacks. Perfect size for the rivets and in the vent. And then on the outside I gave it a dusting of hammerite, of dark green hammerite, just to take the shine off it. But that's how the crack now looks, if you can see it there. There's a few scratches and stuff on it, but that's not looking so bad now. There it is. So from a distance it'll be okay. It'll never be perfect, but at some point I'm going to spruce up that bumper anyways. And then the last job I'm doing right now is finishing off the indicator gaskets. I've repaired the indicator with a bit of glue and a bit of a metal framework, so that's ready to go in. But yeah, the sun's going down, time's running out, so I gotta get cracking. Well, that's it. This phase of Project Elan is done. The bumper's on, all the wheel arch liners are in, everything's buttoned down as it should be, the wheels are now on it. Yeah, it's ready for its MOT. As is normal, at the end of a project, you do something ceremonial. For a lot of people it's the badge. I didn't need to take that off, nor did I want to, because they're very expensive. But for me it's going to be the number plate, because it was on crooked when I got the car, and now I've measured it all up, so it's going to be nice and square. And with that, this phase is completed. Now, that's not to say the story is over, because we have the whole MOT drama tomorrow, and there are a few things like the handbrake which are marginal, so this may not be the end of the journey by any means. But all I can say is thank you for being with me on it. Wish me luck tomorrow, and you know, as I say, there'll still be jobs to do on the Elan. I haven't even driven this thing yet, so it could drive like a bag of nails. I don't know. So stay with me, there's more stuff to come, and once we get this car right, then yeah, might be time for something else. So I'm a little late, I gotta book it. We are on our way, first ever drive of the Elan to its MOT test. Here we go. Getting out of here. here, it's there, but I gotta be honest with you, I'd be very surprised if it passed. It's my first time driving it, and there's a lot not great with it. One of the hubs is squeaking, the brakes are really spongy, the whole thing feels a bit woolly on the road, like the suspension could be a lot better. So then I had multiple issues with it as well today. The headlamp stopped working, the horn stopped working, all the things that I hadn't picked up previously, but just doing the last checks. Yeah, it threw a few curveballs at me last minute, but it's there now. This looks great. Goes alright, doesn't feel as fast as I thought it would, but I'd be amazed if it passed. But at least I got a list of things to fix, and some of them, like the brakes, I'd probably want to do anyways. Well, we have a fail, and I can't say I'm that surprised. Headlamps are not pointing in the right direction, which I kind of knew. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to fix that. I may have to just go to somebody who has the right gear to point them for me. Exhaust carbon monoxide content after second fast idle exceeds default limits. Not entirely sure what to do with that. Again, might need to take it for a little tune up somewhere. That's getting beyond my skill level. And then we have the brakes. They're binding, they're not strong enough, and the parking brake is not doing the job, which I kind of suspected. So I think I need to bring it to a garage to get them to look at the lamps and the carbon monoxide issue, and then after that the brakes I could probably do myself. I knew they were bad even when I was driving over here. They're not great. I tried bleeding them before coming over here, just a quick bleed, and didn't really improve them very much. So whatever the issue is, it needs a bit of work. But anyway, at least I've got a to-do list now. And thanks for coming on the journey, but we're not there yet. Well, we're back, and I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't a little bit disappointed. But having said that, as soon as I got it out on the open road, I knew it wasn't going to pass. The brakes just felt atrocious, and even the suspension doesn't feel great. Given the state of the rest of the car, it's probably a bit long in the tooth, so that could do with a refresh, but it's not critical. And the main thing is getting the brakes done. The headlamps as well, they just need somebody professional to do it. I tried my best to aim them last night, but it's not the easiest thing to do without a proper surface to work against. But you know, I have to be philosophical about it. At least I got to drive it and experience it for the first time, and that was fun. The only bit that concerns me slightly is the emissions issue with it. It needs a tune. I think it's been a while since anybody has really had a proper look at that engine, and it also has been running a while, so I think there might be some crap in its lungs it needs to cough out. But overall, yeah, it's at least I've got a to-do list now, and also I'm not having to redo old work. This is new stuff that I probably would have gotten around to doing anyways. But yeah, I just need to spend a few days thinking about researching, figuring out what to do next, and then get stuck back into it. So Project Elan is not over.